Alright, so today I want to introduce you to the #1 place where I probably learned most of what I know today about ball pythons, and that is an internet forum called ballpythons.net. And let me tell you, I was fanatic over that forum. I was on there day and night. I was looking back at the posts. I had over 1,600 posts on that forum, and pretty much from there what I did is I graduated over to YouTube, moved to making YouTube videos instead of posting on the forum all the time. But let me tell you, it is addictive because you can have anything with the ball pythons. For example, this is a coral glow ball python. I didn't know anything about coral glows. Come to find out, it's pretty much the same thing as a banana, and this happens to be a male maker. So you breed this like with a normal ball python, half the babies come out coral glow, and all the coral glows, most of them, I'd say 99%, are all males because the male and female ratio is linked to the parent. You have male makers and female makers. Let me tell you, this is a pretty advanced genetic ball python, and if you go on ballpythons.net, you can learn all that information. And I was kind of blown away by how many people are on there and how active it is. And I kind of wanted to just show you on my computer that website and kind of give you a tour of the forum. And you can actually upload pictures. And I was looking back, I actually had some really old pictures from when I was just starting out. Lucy, I'm actually going to move her at the end of this video. She is my reticulated python. She's about 67 pounds now. She's a monster. But I have a picture of Lucy on here when she was quite a bit smaller. I wanted to show you that. And let's dive right in and check out that website. All right, so here is the website, ballpythons.net, and that is B-A-L-L with a hyphen and then pythons with an S.net. And this is, you know, I used to go on here all the time. I was either on here or Morph Market nonstop, back and forth every single day posting. I'd say I'd posted probably you know, 2 or 3 times a day at least when I first started in ball pythons. And I actually haven't been on here for almost a year. It's been a long time, and I thought, you know, I was kind of looking back at some of the old stuff I did, and I thought I'd share kind of what I was doing. So when you log in and you hit the home button here, you basically land on the home page after you log in, and what it does is it lists pretty much everything that's recently posted. So the most recently posted stuff is at the top here, and it kind of goes down according to how old it is. This is like the really more recent stuff all the way down. And the thing I like about this is actually a whole bunch of different categories, so you can see which forum there. There's general herb, ball python husbandry, there's corn snakes, giant pythons, blood pythons, king snakes, milk snakes. There's a whole bunch of different categories in here. And if you look at kind of the users online, right now there's 359 people on this forum. So you can tell it's really active. You know, I've been to some of these forums, you know, you jump on a forum and there's like 2 people actually on the forum, and it's not really active, and there's not a whole lot of posts. Let me tell you, this thing has been around for a long time. There's a lot of posts, and there are a lot of people on this forum. If you go down here to the stats over on the right, there's actually 2.4 million posts, 238,000 threads, 64,000 members. So you can see there's a lot of people. It even has the top poster, JLC, with 31,000 posts. And it lists people's birthdays. It's a really neat kind of a reptile community website here where you can just jump in. You can post any topic. And the ones I really like are like this one at the top, the most recent snake picture. If you have a picture of your snake, you can post it on there and everyone will jump in and say, oh cool, that's an awesome snake. And then here's ball python feeding, how to resolve a persistent obesity. Well, that one's easy. You just stop feeding your snake, and you can kind of see over here how many replies and how many views. And you know, the new stuff has basically 0 replies and minimal views because it was just posted today. So, you know, some of this stuff it's a really active forum. It's really neat. If we go over to another tab I opened up, you can kind of see all the different categories within ballpython.net. So it starts out with the general site info, the related laws and regulations, general herp, off-topic cafe, and then some care sheets for different animals. And then you jump down here and there's a whole section for ball pythons. So just general ball pythons, there's 60 people looking at it right now in the general ball pythons. Ball python husbandry, 42 people looking at it. Ball python pictures, morphin genetics, ball python breeding. It's a lot of stuff about ball pythons. Here's some more about ball pythons: recessive morphs, dominant and codominant morphs, designer morphs, ball python morphology. And then you come down here, other pythons, and it has general pythons, giant pythons. I was actually pretty active in the giant pythons because I have 2 retics, and I'm wondering, what are the genetics? How big are these going to get? How much do they eat? Are they obese? And you have all these questions. Let me tell you, jump into some of these forums, and it'll answer all your questions. Then Morelia, blood pythons, and then down here there's a whole section on boas, general boas, red tail boas, tree boas, and a section just on anacondas, which is pretty cool. Here's a whole section on colubrids, general colubrids, corn snakes, king snakes, milk snakes, rat snakes, hognose, everything. And then they have kind of bull snakes, gopher snakes, and pine snakes mixed together in one category. Bunch of stuff on lizards, chameleons, geckos. Then they have some business stuff here, shipping, business talk. Then they have a section for sale, trade, adoption, or wanted, which is pretty cool. You can actually find some stuff on here if you're looking for some snakes or equipment. And then it has kind of miscellaneous, amphibians, venomous animals, has a photography section, field herping, and wildlife. There's a whole bunch of stuff on here. It's really neat. Here's another section, DIY forum, a caging forum. And then this is what I really like too down here. They have a whole section on feeders. General feeders, breeding rats, breeding mice, African soft furs, non-rodent feeders like crickets, mealworms, and roaches, which is pretty neat. And then they have other pets, actually, the cats, dogs, birds, fish, and I actually posted quite a bit down in the farm animals with my cows, which is kind of interesting. You can have there's a whole bunch of different stuff on here. I'd say most of the people really focus on ball pythons. There's some other snakes thrown in there. I'd say it's mostly snakes as far as people talking about in discussion. The problem is if you mix too many things together, then it kind of gets diluted. But I would say since it's ballpythons.net, it's really geared towards ball pythons. And I'd say most of this discussion is ball pythons. But if you have any kind of a snake or anything else, you can jump in there and add to the discussion. The other neat thing, what I really like is for example, if you just want discussions about anacondas, you can actually click on this anacondas and it'll give you all the topics and the threads just on the anacondas, and you can cut out all the other stuff. I kind of like to look at the front page and kind of the new stuff that's posting and the kind of interact with what's going on. So if you look at kind of the ball python husbandry tab, this is kind of like you jump into one of the topics within the forum. What they do is they have a whole bunch of stickies at the front, and then the moderators, they decide, this is worthy of everybody seeing what the sticky is about. For example, ball python feeding guidelines. Everybody should know that, so they put it at the very top of the forum and make it a sticky that basically sticks to the top so everybody can see it. And then under the stickies is kind of the new stuff. So if you post something, it comes up here. Here's ball python feeding, which has the most recent reply as far as a topic. So if you dig up one of these old topics and you reply, it basically goes to the very top of the thread here. Here's another one, giant pythons. This is the one I used to hang out in quite a bit. Not a whole lot of stickies. There's only 2 stickies on this one. And then you can see, some people will do like Leviathan progress thread, and then they, post pictures as their snake progresses, gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's kind of neat too, because you can see how the snake grows into a monster snake over time, which is pretty neat. And here is a thread that I just pulled up, just kind of one of the most recent ones. This is called the most recent snake picture. And if you look at the number of pages, I kind of went to the end here. I am on page 147, so people keep adding and adding to the snake pictures. And if you actually look at some of these pictures, they are really, really neat pictures. Here's one eating a rat. Here's another one. There's you can see this is a boa, a hypo red pastel boa. This is an Orange Dream Vanilla Scream ball python. It's pretty cool just to see what people are working on and what kind of snakes they have. Some of these are just really amazing pictures. As a matter of fact, if you got into like a stock photo kind of a deal, you could probably sell a lot of these photos on like some of the stock photo websites, which is another thing I've been considering, but I got so much going on I can't really take on another thing at this point. So here is kind of my user control panel where I posted a whole bunch of pictures, and these are some of my pictures when I first started out. Here's my very first rack down here on the bottom left, and I just had my boa tub and some kind of a mix of different sizes all together. And then kind of the second thing I got was my rat rack up here, my very first rat rack. And this picture is kind of interesting. I kind of blew it up over here. This is Lucy when she was smaller, and I thought, man, this snake is so big, I can't believe it. And let me tell you, Lucy is not the same snake as this. And this one, let me tell you, this wasn't really that long ago. It was only, I think it was only a couple of years ago when she was this big. And let me tell you, within those 2 years, she grew into a monster. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to actually pull Lucy out of her tub and put her back into the other enclosure. Actually, I just cleaned her substrate in the big enclosure, and what happened was she kept pushing and pushing. I think it was too humid in there with that new substrate, and her nose was getting really red. And I decided, instead of, trying to fix it, I just moved her into one of these boa tubs overnight. So I moved her into the boa tub overnight, and then I cranked up her heat on the bigger enclosure, and I kind of dried it out a little bit. Now I'm going to put her back and see if she's okay with the bigger enclosure. So remember what Lucy looks like here? We are going to take a look at Lucy as a monster today. Let's go check that out. All right, so here goes nothing. I am going to pull Lucy out of this boa tub, and I just slid it out, and this is how big she is looking. She is looking really big. Let's see if I can get her out here. All right, Lucy. There we go, here we go. She is a big girl. Wow. Alright. Oh, let's see if I can get her. She is a beast. A beast of a snake. Oh, she's getting away. There we go. Take a look at that old big old beast. She's definitely gotten bigger. Whew. All right, so here is Lucy in her 6-foot enclosure, and I'd say she's probably about 14 feet now. She's definitely does not reach, completely across without being folded up a little bit. She's really big. I was actually breeding her this year. I'm not sure if she's gonna go. It looks like she may be developing some eggs, but she's really not to the point where she's so gravid that I can't move her. She's a really beautiful snake, really friendly, and she has some incredible feeding responses. If you can get her feeding on rats, she can be a little bit frightening when she's going after that food. But other than that, she is a sweetheart. All right, so there you have it. That is ballpythons.net. If you're looking for a lot of information about ball pythons or snakes or other reptiles, there is an incredible amount of information there, and that kind of works hand in hand with YouTube, I'd say. YouTube has a lot of information. There's some really good YouTube creators putting out some really good information about ball pythons and reptiles and a whole bunch of other snakes. As a matter of fact, if you are becoming a YouTube creator, if you're looking for some ideas, I would probably go over to ballpythons.net, look through some of the topics and kind of borrow those for some of the topics for your videos. I've done that a few times. Most of the stuff that I do, I just kind of make up off the top of my head, but occasionally when I kind of get stumped and I'm up against the wall and I need to put out a video, I go over to ballpythons.net and look for topics for new videos. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.